كثيرا أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصمه ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر صدق الله العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected listeners, since the past many weeks we've been listening about how to prepare for the month of Ramadan, and alhamdulillah we are today sitting in a Friday where inshallah before the next Friday comes in our life we will be in the month of Ramadan, as the moon sighting is supposed to be done after Tuesday. So in the evening of Tuesday inshallah, and if we see the moon, then we are inshallah going to start fasting on the Wednesday, or if not, inshallah for sure on Thursday. The Prophet ﷺ has been reported to prepare the Sahaba right before the month of the start of the month of Ramadan, on the last Friday before Ramadan started. So the last Friday of Sha'ban, the Prophet ﷺ, there's a narration from the Prophet ﷺ where the Prophet ﷺ introduced Ramadan and told the Sahaba what to do in Ramadan. And inshallah we intend to go over that hadith today inshallah. So the Prophet ﷺ, this is a narration of Sayyidina Salman Farsi radiyallahu anhu. The Prophet ﷺ said that أيها الناس قد أظلكم شهر عظيم شهر مبارك. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam prepared the Sahaba by telling them that a month is going to take you under its shade. A month that is great and full of blessing, full of barakah, is shahrun mubarak. Which would mean, as we had explained earlier, that barakah is something where whatever we have and whatever Allah gives to us, whatever is the purpose of that ni'mah. For example, we have money. The purpose of money is to get comfort, buy things, but those things in themselves are not purpose. The purpose is that we get comfort and we use them. So money will be called to have barakah or blessing in it when our money serves us rather than us serving our money. So whatever we have and whatever we spend, it will have barakah if whatever we buy through it or whatever we gain through it, it works for us. It gives us comfort and pleasure. Similarly, our time, it is there at the higher level. The only purpose of anyone, any human being, is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to become a good slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the purpose, the only purpose of our life. Everything else is secondary. So our time having barakah or blessing would mean that we are able to use that time to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are doing those things that do not please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our time does not have barakah. So the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this month is full of barakah. Full of barakah. Everything that Allah gives you, it fulfills its purpose even more. So your time is going to serve you even more. Your rizq, in terms of food and provisions, that is going to serve you even better. Your ibadat and everything, they will have their effect even more as well. Your ibadat will also have barakah. Therefore, be ready to do as much as you can. And the third salient feature of this month that the Prophet ﷺ mentions in the first sentence is شَهْرٌ فِيهِ لَيْلَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّنْ أَلْفِ شَهْرٍ. It has a night which is better than 1,000 months. How much better? neither the Quran nor the Prophet ﷺ have put a limit on how much better. But the signs that we get from other places in the Quran is that when this word khair is used, it means way better. Better than, just like the sky is higher from the earth, so much better. Totally, immeasurably better than what? Than 1,000 months. And a month generally contains 30 nights. So one night is way better, immeasurably better than 30,000 nights. How fortunate is that person who is able to pray 2 rakat in that night? How fortunate is that person who is able to pray Isha with Jama'ah in that night? How fortunate is that person who is able to pray 20 extra rakat of Taraweeh in that night? How fortunate is that person who is able to spend even $1 in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that night? How fortunate is that person who is able to tell and share anything good, even in the form of words, even in the form of a smile, to their brother, which is the Prophet ﷺ has said that is also sadaqah. That is also sadaqah. So these opportunities are always there. And in this month of Ramadan, they have increased much more. And in that one particular night, the identity of which, for our own sake, has been kept secret, so that even if we knew it and then we chose to neglect it and ignore it, we'd have been greatly sinful people. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept the exact night ambiguous, but has told that this is within this month. So search for this night. And then the Prophet ﷺ tells us the 2 things that we have to do in this month of Ramadan that are a must. جعل الله صيامه فريضة وقيام ليله تطوعا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the fasting of this month fard. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it fard, then that means that everybody who's capable has to do it, and we cannot give it up for petty excuses. I have a job interview, I have to wake up early, I have to sleep late at night, I will have to do this, I have to go to such place, this, that. These are just excuses that will not work on the Day of Judgment. So we have to make sure that if we have the capacity, of course if someone is so sick that they cannot sustain, they cannot survive fasting, then that's a different story. But for all of us, the first thing should be that we have to make sure that we fast in this month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ has said that even if a single day of fasting in this month is missed, a person might keep on fasting for the remainder of their life. Still they cannot make up for that which has been missed. This one day of fasting in the month of Ramadan. So therefore, encourage our children and encourage our 15-year-old babies to start taking care of fasting. This is something that becomes mandatory when a person becomes a baligh or an adult in the eyes of Sharia, which is definitely 15 years or even before if the signs appear. Similarly, the standing of the night, the Prophet ﷺ here is using the word tatawwa, which kind of means it's below than fard. It is something that the Prophet ﷺ is advising, is encouraging. But looking at the action of Sahaba and the other ahadith, this is one narration, the other ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ, this is something which is very, very, very important, and something that the Prophet ﷺ really disliked if it was left. And the Sahaba in the time of Sayyidina Umar Khattab radiallahu anh particularly, they established Taraweeh under the government, 20 rakat in both the masajid and all the masajid of Islam. 20 rakat. Had Umar Khattab radiallahu anh found the best hafiz, found the best reciter of the Quran in whole of Medina, and asked him to lead 20 rakat every single night. Nobody disagrees upon this. Nobody. Not people from this side, not people from that side. All of them agree that Taraweeh 20 rakat were established across the masajid of Islam, 20 rakat in the time of Sayyidina Umar Khattab radiallahu anh. And there is some weak narrations about the Prophet ﷺ himself and the Sahaba, other Sahaba narrating that we used to pray 20 rakat. The Prophet ﷺ did not establish it formally in Masjid al-Nabi Sharif ﷺ because he feared that because of how dearly I wish that the people do this, and if I do this regularly, it will become a farz. It will become a farz. Just like we've seen that there's other examples where the Prophet ﷺ dearly wished something and Allah sent down that command in the Quran. So the Prophet ﷺ, out of his mercy, did not want it to become a farz, but something right next to farz. So therefore the ulama, the fuqaha have said that this is a sunnah which is emphatically enjoined upon by the Prophet ﷺ, a sunnah mu'akkada. A sunnah mu'akkada. And if nobody does it in the whole community, everyone is sinful. And if some people at least do it, then this sunnah mu'akkada ala al-kifaya with jama'ah is fulfilled. So therefore, it is a responsibility upon every one of us that out of the relationship that we have with the Prophet ﷺ, we do not consider that it is only the fasting and Taraweeh is something that is optional. Na'udhu billah. Taraweeh is also mandatory by the command of the Prophet ﷺ, by the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and as established by the one who understood the sunnah better than me and you and any of the scholars of the present day, Sayyidina Umar Khattab radiallahu anh, 20 rak'at in the masjid after Isha. As Umar Khattab radiallahu anh would lead the Isha, he would then step back, and the best person who had memorized the Quran, he would invite him, he would come and lead 20 rakat Taraweeh. Then when they would finish the Taraweeh of 20 rakat, Hazrat Umar Khattab radiallahu anh would come back on the musalla of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and lead the witr salah. So this is the sunnah of Taraweeh. We'll read one more point inshallah, and then we'll complete it next time inshallah, next Friday. The Prophet ﷺ is mentioning, "Man taqarraba fihi bi khaslatin min al-khayr kana kaman adda fariida fima siwa. Wa man adda fariidata fihi kana kaman adda 70 fariidatan fima siwa." Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammad. The Prophet ﷺ is mentioning that whoever comes closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tries to seek the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by doing any non-farz act. So we understand that the faraiz of Islam, they are of course the 5 daily prayers, particularly in the month of Ramadan, fasting each day, and listening to our parents, paying zakat, doing hajj, all of those things. Of course hajj cannot be done in this month, but these are all the farz acts that we have to do. And non-farz acts, everything else beyond those. So the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made mandatory, the fara'id, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really rewards people for that. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes something mandatory, the reward is also the highest. And when the time of farz comes, then there is nothing else that will be done except for that farz. For example, it is time for Zuhr Salah and the time is running out. Then everything else will be left behind. And 4 faraiz of farz of Zuhr will be prayed. So that is the best, the highest and the most beloved thing of that according to the situation. If farz is the most beloved, the most rewarding thing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the month of Ramadan, every non-farz act is elevated to the status in terms of reward to the reward of the farz act. And every farz act at least 70 more times. At least 70 more times. Again, how much more? We do not know. It is on the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the sincerity with which this farz act is done, that is going to make it even more weighty in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, whoever comes close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fulfills the farz with the intention of reward, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to not only reward them, but also the acts of worship, they are not only that, you do this farz, you will get this many virtues in your account. It's not only about that. That is one aspect of faraiz, but everything that you do with the intention of pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah pulls you towards Himself and pulls you towards the path and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the meaning here is also that those effects are also increased multiple fold. Any non-farz act that you do, you want to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will pull you even closer, like the effect of a farz. And for a farz act, 70 times more. So therefore, Ramadan in essence is a month where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is removing all the obstacles and is giving you speed. And the little efforts that you make, Allah is giving you even more multiple fold effects so that you can come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Use this month to transform your life and become a good slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Brothers who haven't prayed the sunnah, please do so now. Jazakallahu khairan.